03717 223344. Josh has dialed that number. Josh, you're not particularly happy with Mikel Arteta.
Hi, good evening, lads. Still not happy with Arteta, really.
Why not?
Come on.
5 out of 5 wins before today.
To be honest with you, if you look at the games obviously beat, Fulham, Bournemouth...
It's the Premier League.
No, I do agree, Josh. I do. Apart from probably Palace away, which is tough to go, you've probably done what's expected of you.
No, but last season, even that, they wasn't doing what was sorry, I was about to jump in, but he's Spurs. Sorry, he dragged me in. He dragged me in there. Got to sort out. Look, let me chill. I apologise.
Go on, Josh. What's the issues over Arteta?
Bayo. Yeah, you're right, Bayo. For me, it's all right looking good on Amazon Prime and all this sort of stuff on a documentary. Beating the bottom sort of teams who are probably going to be scrapping for relegation, but then when you've come against the biggest team you've played, that substitution, I don't know what happened in that sort of 10 minutes. He's completely lost his head, brought 5-6 attacking players on, left 2 defenders on, 3-1 down, you're out of the game. He's got to be at blame for that, I think. And
I think there's still naivety there from him.
Most definitely, especially with such a young squad. Don't get me wrong, they've got promise, and I think that they'll probably get top 4 still this season, but in them sort of big games like that, that's going to probably be the making for him, probably, in us as a team going forward. And them sort of decisions like that, especially at like 73rd minute, I think it was, just keep your head. I think we're still very much in the game. Arsenal was on top of even Gary Neville was raving about Arsenal's play, but Arteta then just sort of lost his head and sort of throw a spanner in the works. I don't know why he brought Zinchenko off. If anything, he probably should have played Zinchenko in midfield instead of Lokonga and probably started Tierney at left back maybe. And I think he could have done a lot better. For me, there's still a lot of questions. I think they've got a big month coming up as well in October. Got obviously Spurs, Liverpool, some big games coming up, and I think that he's got to succeed, especially after I would have expected him to maybe get him for Tielemans as well. I think that's not been questioned, the transfer market. I still think they're very light in certain positions.
Josh, cheers for the call. It's strange no one picked up Tielemans actually on deadline day.
Bodo Glimt as well. They play like huge games in October.
There he is, the bitter Tottenham fan. Craig says, better team lost. Speaking of bitter, nothing to worry about. VAR went against us again. We move on, still top of the league. Yash, Aryan and Viraj have been at the game today. They say Scott McTominay is a beast. We don't need Casemiro and we love Ten Hag. He says, shame the pies are rubbish at Old Trafford. I had a good pie up there when they beat
Casemiro.
Liverpool, actually.
You have him. Like,
I know.
You don't need him, he's there.
No, but you know what? Actually, it was a show of faith today because I think most of us expected Casemiro to start that game.
Agreed.
Ten Hag kept faith with McTominay. They've won 3 games in a row. They've won 4 in a row now. It'll be interesting to see when Casemiro comes into the Premier League. I'd imagine he might play in the Europa League on Thursday night. And I guess Cristiano Ronaldo might start in the Europa League on Thursday. That's a bit of a fall from grace, isn't it?
Boy, I mean,
it is what it is.
Yeah, you know the maddest things. It depends how much Cristiano Ronaldo buys into what.
It was positive that he stood up and applauded Anthony's first goal today.
The worst thing is, and we spoke about this off air, we don't see him being a bad egg.
No.
There's not one time have we seen him being a bad egg. But he is the most known person in the world.
Yep.
Holds all the records. So if for him he's like, you know what, I maybe got 2 years left, I want to play in the Champions. If that's what he wanted to do initially, nobody could begrudge him, innit? And then of course there's going to be reports coming out. So him supporting, there was no other bar him not clapping the fans sometimes. He's never not backed his players well from what I've seen, if you know what I'm saying.
He's a Manchester United player. He's a teammate. Like they all get on well. By all accounts from people, and you'll know people that know him, he's a great guy. It's a media narrative, really, that he's not. And there's a lot of noise that comes out of Cristiano Ronaldo's camp. But as Bayo said, that's because he's the most well-known football player around. There's going to be. But
I will say, that is, on Thursday, if he plays and he starts or he just comes out and plays, then it's saying a lot for him buying into the project of what Ten Hag.
He has to embrace this role. He has to embrace the role of playing a bit part at the moment until he can make an impact. He's probably, I mean, what's the Europa League record?
Yeah,
I mean, we break that this season.
I think it's easier to buy into a project when the team is winning as well. So probably Ronaldo is in a better space headwise than he was maybe when United were getting hammered at Brentford. What about the anti-Glazer protest that had been gathering momentum? I wonder if there were any of those today. Let's bring in Chris, the Manchester United fan. Chris, I think you've got an opinion on this.
How you doing, guys?
Hey, Chris.
Yeah, what's going on, Chris?
How you doing? Yeah, good, thank you. Yeah, I've called up a few times, and I always talk about, the mentality and stuff like that. And I think there's too much emphasis on Glazers out and stuff, because at the end of the day, the Glazers, Anthony, £85 million. As a United fan, I'm seeing them won everything. Now, regardless of the Gary Neville and other people saying they're taking money out the club needs, fixing stadium, etc. If they weren't actually plugging money into the club and not buying signings, that would be a massive issue.
Mm-hmm.
I think we are just deflecting the fact that they just haven't been good on the field. Because at the end of the day, it's not Joe Glazer playing up front or in midfield. These guys can only do a certain amount. It's just down to the players, and I think Ten Hag has done something really good to install a mentality. I think the previous bosses were just too soft, and I think Ronaldo, just touching on what you said before about throwing his hands in the air and not saying appreciating the fans and stuff, that comes from a winning mentality.
Yeah.
And if you're not winning, there's no point clapping and then just walking down the tunnel and it means nothing to you. This guy shows that he actually cares, and that comes from a winning mentality. But going back to the Glazer thing, I think we, as United fans, we should, just back the team. Just back the team. Let's just stop this anti-Glazer thing, because I personally, myself, I just don't agree with it. Because the Glazers were there when Alex Ferguson was there. So what is the big issue?
Well, the big issue is, Chris, thanks for your call, and I don't think the two have to be mutually exclusive. You can back the team, but you can still protest in the right way against an ownership that you don't believe in. So I would encourage Manchester United fans, I have done on this station, keep voicing your unhappiness at the way the club is run, because, yes, they spent money in the transfer window, but as Gary Neville has pointed out time and again, it isn't coming from the Glazers' pockets. Manchester United make billions every year.
But is that a bad thing? And you can, because you're Man United, is that a bad thing? So
It's the way that the purchase was done. The fact they basically bought Manchester United and put a load of debt against the football club really shouldn't be allowed. And I think actually the Premier League might tighten up on that. If you compare it to, say, Todd Boehly, who's coming at Chelsea, and he's clearly investing his own money. They've just broken the record for transfer spend, despite the fact they were subject to all kinds of sanctions at the end of the last season. Todd Boehly is there because he wants to be a success. The Glazers are there because they want to milk Manchester United. 4 wins in a row doesn't disguise that in the eyes of most Manchester United fans. I think the protests will continue. Let's squeeze in Paul, the Arsenal fan, very quickly. Paul, you weren't happy with the VAR decision to chalk off Martinelli's opening goal.
No, I wasn't, and I think VAR, to be honest, the way it's being used, I have to say also the arrogance of the Man U fans is quite a thing, and that's a bubble that's going to...
Why is that, Paul?
Well, I'm just what I'm observing,
yeah,
really.
You tell him, brother. Hey, Paul, tell him. Tell Cookie.
What face change?
Go on, tell him. Go on, I'm with you.
What arrogant behaviour?
Hold on, let him speak, man.
Today?
No, Cookie, let him speak. There's the arrogance. But I'm with you there. He's not letting you speak. Go on.
So, just this, we're it now, and that's it, and just that just, see what happens. There's Alex Ferguson hasn't come back yet, you know what I mean? And
Nor's Arsene Wenger.
No, well, I'm glad he isn't, actually, frankly, but that's another story,
Yeah. After the way you hounded out your most successful manager, I'm sure you do.
No. Yeah, every reason to be fair, but he did very well for a very good while, and he was great for us. I'm more of a George Graham man. His era was fantastic, but that's another thing. But that's a bubble that's could well may not be as strong as you think. But what about VAR? Look, West Ham yesterday, that was never a foul on the goalie, right? If they're going to pick up on things that are like retroactive, and the referee said it, and that's it, it's done, and then the VAR says, no, you got to have a look at that, then by that token, the foul on Jesus after 2 minutes should have been retroactively back for a yellow card, right? Now,
VAR can't intervene when it comes to yellow cards.
Well, they should be able to then, because at the end of the day, what they've done is they're ruining football. It was a 50-50 if it was a foul, really. And at the end of the day, the way I see it is that it's not being run well at all. And we might have won, we might have lost if that goal had gone in. We'll never know that. But at the end of the day, we wouldn't be feeling like there's an injustice done. And I think that's happening too often, not just with Arsenal today, West Ham yesterday. You can count it on more than four or five hands. You know what I mean? It's so many. They're just racking up the incidents. And I just don't think they're using common sense really in the game. You know, and it's all. So many games are being.
Paul, thanks very much for your call.
Yeah,
I hope those arrogant Manchester United fans haven't ruined your evening too much.
There's another one.
Here we go.
Enjoy those grapes. Hopefully they're not too sour.
Darren Bent's Boot Room. Fast-paced football fallout. Every Sunday night from 5 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.